Hey there, everyone. My name is Ryan Schul. Welcome to my channel. This is about data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, deep learning. I tend to focus on a lot of financial topics. If you've watched some of my videos or any of them, you probably have stumbled on some financial something or other, whether it's bond pricing, equity, research, risk management, capital markets related topics or things like this, right? So I like these things. That's really a passion of mine, and I try to focus a lot of my videos around that and try to make it very relevant and practical as well, right? So the more pragmatic, the better. I just finished one about paying off credit card debt, and this one is kind of in the same vein as that. This is somewhat similar, slightly different approach and slightly different topic, but kind of more similar than you might expect. This is about how to achieve the goals that you've set for yourself for college savings, right? So how do you save enough money for your kid or a couple of kids, or if you have more than a couple, then all of your kids to go to college if that is your goal. Okay, not everybody is going to go to college. Some people go to trade schools. Some people become billionaires because they fail out of college or in the first semester or don't even go there. I can think of a bunch of names, right, that have fallen into that bucket, but probably like your child probably isn't going to be a billionaire, start a very lucrative startup and make billions of dollars. So most likely your kid is probably going to go to college or maybe trade school, and there's probably going to be some costs associated with that. So for most of us, myself included, we probably have kids that will at some point, you know, consider going to college, and it's very important to ask, like, how are we going to finance this? This is a big ticket item, right? And this is going to cost a lot of money. So how are we going to go ahead and save the money that we need for our kids to be able to go to the college that they want to go to? Okay, so this is not going to be like a very precision type of calculation, but more of an estimate. But let me take you through some of the rudimentary things that we need to consider here to see, like, potentially how much can we set aside for a child to go to college if that's the decision that they are going to make in their life, right? In their early in their life, in their late teenage years, or maybe early 20s if they postpone it for just a little bit. So playing for college has a lot of benefits, right? Just to take away the uncertainty of underwriting this type of capital expense, right? Reduced financial burden, compounding growth on the investment that you put aside for your kids' education. There's tax advantages too, right? There's a 529 plan. I think that's what's called 529 savings, SAVINGS, based on which state you live in. I live in New York State, so I think it's driven by the state rules and regulations. So that's a 529 plan. Then there's a couple other tax advantage plans that go along with that. I think that's the main one. Financial independence for yourself and your spouse and your child too, right? Reduce stress, flexibility, and choosing colleges, right? If you have more money or have more options, that goes without saying. Encourage financial responsibility for your child, right? Probably the first major step, and them going to college is just becoming fiscally responsible, right? And for peace of mind, that goes with reduced stress and financial independence, peace of mind that you can send your kid to the school they actually want to go to, and you don't have to make a whole ton of compromises because they got into an outstanding school, maybe Ivy League, something of that caliber, and they just can't go because you don't have the funds and they didn't get a scholarship. That would be frustrating and disappointing. But let's try to prevent that scenario and that outcome and plan. Okay, there's an old saying: nobody plans to fail, but sometimes people fail to plan. So nobody's going to fail here intentionally, but if you don't plan, you could create a failure for yourself, right? So nobody plans to fail, but sometimes we fail to plan. So let's not fail to plan. So I put together some scripts here using Jupyter Lab. So to run Jupyter Lab, all you have to do is have your Anaconda prompt over here, type in Jupyter Lab down here, and it's going to start up. I just started this a couple of minutes ago, right before I started the recording, and was a lot of stuff over here. I didn't know it was that much, but where's my Jupyter? I go up, 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 up. Okay, there's a lot of preamble in there, but it's somewhere. Okay, I guess that's it. So there's the Jupyter Lab. When you put this into your account Anaconda prompt, the web page will open up. So Jupyter Notebook and Jupyter Lab are two different things. Jupyter Lab is great for widgets and control items. We'll see that in just a minute. Jupyter Notebook is a very dynamic environment where you can create plotly charts and graphs and go ahead and create interactive controls. But Jupyter Lab is slightly different. It gives you options to create widgets like slider controls and input boxes that you don't necessarily have in the Jupyter Notebook. So I switch back and forth between these. I like Jupyter Lab for these interactive controls and Jupyter Notebooks for plotly charts and graphs where you can zoom in, zoom out, and put the mouse over the graph and see the pop-up. That's pretty cool. So here's the code. I'll share it with you. I won't take you through every single bit and piece of this code, but we have a few. We have a user-defined function over here, calculate savings. We have some inputs, crossover point, hit the target or miss the target, goal achieved, and then exceeding target. And like I just mentioned, we're going to create a plotly chart. Here's your plotly go figure, and we're going to update the layout over here with some compounding to help us understand when we make some investments for college savings, how is that going to grow over time, and what kind of yield or what kind of outcome can we expect from these investments on the long-term time continuum. Okay, so here's all the setup. I will go ahead and run this. If I put the mouse over here, hit Control Enter, it refreshes the cell, everything rebuilds, and you will see the output in just a moment here. Okay, so if I scroll down here, the graph should pop up with a couple input boxes asking me to input some information here. Okay, requirement satisfied, so you have a couple notes, some information. We can disregard that. So here's what you really need to know. How much do you currently have saved for college, and what is your total target savings for your child's education? Okay, so this comes up by default. I can put, I think I have about 20,000 saved right now for my child. He's 8 and he's going to go to college in about 8, 9, 10, about 10 years, right? 18. So I'm going to, years into college, I can put, I can change this over here, right? You can change these controls, and you can see the chart changing down here underneath, right? So as you put this lower and lower, you'll see you have less time. Oops, I put too much. You have less time, and the target savings right here, which is the red horizontal line, that's going to cross over with the cumulative savings, and the little green dot is going to show you the crossover point. So that is going to help you identify how much have you saved for college, how much you need to save, and how much time you have left before your kid heads off to the college, right? So let's get that set up, and they're gonna call, and I have to take care of that. So, anyways, college savings right now for me is about 20K, and the target is probably going to be 10 years from now. I'm going to put 10 over here, and I'm going to say 150K. I really don't know how much it's going to be, but college is pretty expensive, right? So if I have 20 saved up and I need 150,000, right now I'm missing the target, right? But that's okay. We have a slider control here where we can change the monthly savings. If I decrease it, I'm way off target. If I increase it, I can hit the crossover point right about there, and that's going to be about 8.5 years out. So you see the horizontal red dotted line. We see the increasing blue line, that is your savings, and the crossover point happens right over here at about year 8.75, close to 8.5, 8.75. That gives me 10 years. That is also letting me put in the rate of return. Now, if I have a lower rate of return, it's going to take longer to achieve that savings amount. If I have a higher rate of return, like if I'm investing in some stocks or some bonds, or have a diversified portfolio of several different stocks, some blue chips, and maybe some Dow components. I have a few videos that explain how to manage the risk of your investments and how to invest in stocks wisely and prudently and generate a decent return. We can say 8 to 9, maybe 10% is the rate of return. If I increase it to 10, I can hit the crossover point in about 7 years. If it's a little bit less, like 8%, it's going to take 7.5. If it's even less, if my return is closer to 6%, it's going to be over 8 years, right? So just to get 4 more percent, I can go from about 8.25 years to just about under 7 years. That's pretty nice, right? And the total, the goal achieved is 128,000 at that point, right? I need 150, but I have 20K right now. And this right here is going to be a little bit higher if I get a little bit higher return. than I expect on my invested assets, right? So I could get a little bit higher than 128, 128 would be the goal, right? That's approximately 150 minus that, and a little buffer for the variety of returns that you could get from your invested money, right? Depending on which stocks and equity components you put that into. A slightly higher return could be 133, and this is a little bit random. This is a slightly lower 118. This would be the goal that you're trying to achieve right here, and this is like 10% under, 10% over, because you don't know what the market is going to deliver, right? Could be 10%, could be 12, could be 15, right? If you get 15%, then you'll achieve your target a lot faster, right? This is like 6.75 years. But if you're getting close to the 5% return, you're not even hitting the crossover point, right? So you have to get like a higher return or put in more money per month, right? So you can change this to monthly savings is going to help you achieve your target faster and faster, right? So here's just past 4 years. If you're putting in 2,000 per month, if you're putting in less, then it's going to be a further out target, right? That's 8 years right there. And again, if your child has longer time to go before college, 14 years, then you'll hit it easier than if your child just has 6 years left until they leave for college. Then you're going to have to increase the monthly savings rate. So whatever, it's very dynamic, very interactive. It gives you a lot of controls in terms of how much you have saved, how much your target is going to be for the college when they head off to college, the years until they go to college, number of years, and then the monthly savings is over here, and your expected rate of return is another interactive control that you can play around with and try to tune for your ultimate estimate of how much you need to actually save for college. So I think this is great. It gives you perspective. It gives you insight into how much you've saved today, how much you need to save, and then how to bridge that gap. How are you going to get from where you are today to where you need to be in X number of years? For me, it's about 10 before my kid heads off to college. For you, could be a little bit more, a little bit less, so a lot more, a lot less, right? But this gives you all kinds of different options to put in current savings target, control the monthly savings with the slider, years until they head off to school, head off to college, anyways, and then the rate of return that you're going to get on your investment. So that's it. I just wanted to take you through that demo. So I will save this right now, and I will share this code with you guys a little bit later today. I will wrap up the video here. Where's my save button? Oh, there it is. It looks a little bit different in a Jupyter Lab than a Jupyter Notebook. So I'm going to export that as an HTML file, and you can download that from the Google Drive. I'll store it in the Google Drive as soon as I post a video a little bit later today. And that's it. So hopefully that was insightful and useful. Hopefully I was able to drop some knowledge that will benefit y'all, and you are going to be better off for that. Okay, so I'm going to wrap it up right here, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.